Here we are. It is finally upon us. UFC 254. Easily one of the most anticipated fights of the year. Khabib Nurmagomedov v Justin Gaethje. There's also Robert Whittaker v Jared Cannonier in the co-main event. Alexander Volkov v Walt Harris. There is plenty to look forward to here. And of course, Nathaniel Wood and Casey Kenny, who we were speaking to earlier. But Niall, this is a pay-per-view in the UK and Ireland. It's going to be, I think, 25, 30 quid to buy it. How do you think that's going to go? Do you understand why this is pay-per-view, given that it's one of the most elite fights they can put on, and it's on prime time in the UK? I genuinely can't argue with it.
Yeah, I can't argue with it either. I think it's great that they've done this, obviously, to suit our time for a change. I think we deserve at least one a year. So, I don't think people can be moaning with the caliber of the main event. To be honest with you, the card as a whole isn't amazing. I think the top two fights are really, really good. But yeah, listen, we're getting prime time action here. We're getting really, really solid co-main and main event. No complaining for me. Like 3:15 start, 7 p.m. main card, absolutely perfect. Couldn't have asked for it any better. So I'd be willing to pay for that most weeks. Well, not most weeks, but once in a blue moon, like we have to do. So yeah, I've no complaints, man, at all whatsoever.
Did you see BT Sports promotional video they put out? It's absolutely amazing. It kind of scales the whole journey of Khabib and his father, who recently passed away up until this moment, the first fight, which his father hasn't been alive for. It's a really nice video, isn't it? They seem to be just absolutely killing these teasers that they're putting together. Yeah,
it's absolutely fantastic. Sort of, as you mentioned there, illustrates his whole journey through mixed martial arts in form of animation, and really, really solid stuff from BT. I've really been impressed with how, especially since the second deal has come into play with the UFC, how they've changed their content and really improved what they're putting out on the airwaves, online. It's really stepped up a level, and great storytelling, especially as well. Kids are going to go, it's clever as well to a certain degree from BT Sport. Oh, look, can I see that animation? If they're online, they'll jump onto it, have a look. Who's this guy? It creates interest in a younger audience as well to get consumed by mixed martial arts.
They convince their parents to buy it, and then they watch Khabib Nurmagomedov bludgeon someone half to death.
Yeah.
As he lies on top of them,
more
hammering away at their bloodied faces until the referee says, "No more, son."
Well, that's it. That's more or less it, Pete. So yeah, at the end of the day, these guys, that's their job, to create interest and sell the pay-per-view. So yeah, as we know with the UFC, by all means necessary. We saw that many a time.
Bus clips.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's exactly what I was referring to. We'll never use this. We'll never ever use this. We're never going to use this. You're a liar, Dana. 10 minutes later, you're already selling the fight based on
the darkest day. Yeah. But
in UFC history.
I want to know what you think of this fight. For me, it's a huge fight for Khabib's legacy. Gaethje looked phenomenal against Tony Ferguson. He bet the shit out of Tony Ferguson in a way that I didn't think he possibly could, to be honest. Beforehand, I expected a far more competitive fight, and it just didn't happen. And he's got all this momentum. He's been looking so good. Khabib's obviously had huge astronomical changes to his camp. I mean, is this the toughest fight of Khabib's life? Because I certainly feel as though it is. Because if McGregor had showed up 100% McGregor, the McGregor we saw in 2016, that would have been the fight of Khabib's life. But that didn't happen. We know that didn't happen. McGregor has said it himself that didn't happen. So is this the toughest fight of his life, would you say?
Yeah. I think, you've mentioned it all there. I think you put everything together. You put in the fact that this is the first time in his career that he hasn't had his father there. And I think that's going to be a big, big test mentally for him. When he's going in there on Saturday. Now, I'm sure it has been this week, just not having him around, bringing everyone together. Javier Mendez has mentioned us to many a time about the significance of him being in the camp and the respect he commands from the fighters and everyone that's involved. So I believe that's a massive, massive factor in this fight, and something that could be very, very emotional for Khabib on fight night. It's going to be very interesting how he reacts to that, and whether that plays into the fight on Saturday night, because it's obviously a life-changing moment for anyone, and Khabib is no different in my opinion. And it is the biggest test in terms of a fight with Justin Gaethje, a guy that we've never seen, as we often talk about. We never see his wrestling, a decorated wrestler. We've never seen that. Can he neutralise Khabib's takedowns? Possibly. We don't know. A world of intricacies coming into this fight and to see what's happening, and I'm just fascinated. And listen, I think it could well be a big issue for Khabib on Saturday night, what Justin Gaethje offers and his whole mindset and the way everything's come together.
Whittaker and Cannonier, would you agree with me that Cannonier is probably the only guy fighting for a shot at a title here? Because I just, I never forget Izzy did say to me, yeah, I'll knock him out for a third time. But way Behrman was talking about it, it seemed like the last thing they would want to do is fight Whittaker again. Obviously he's fought Till, he's won, and now Cannonier looks like a beast. Does it need to be something absolutely, out of this world for Whittaker to get back into that conversation?
Yeah, I think it's all about legacies for Israel Adesanya, and the way he beat Robert Whittaker not so long ago rules out a potential rematch for me, even if he wins spectacularly on Saturday night. I think the only way he stays around at middleweight is that Cannonier comes in and absolutely destroys Robert Whittaker, puts on a good dominant display for them to sell that fight. And I really generally think he's going to go after that 205-pound title, and I think it does make sense. He's a guy about legacy, and that's what he's going to do, Petesy. Mystic Mac.
Right, let's make some picks. I believe you brought it back to even now.
Oh, I did.
So you can be the champ provided I don't get the rants back to level pecking in the next section. But for this, my calls was hot, as you guys know. 1 point for a definite winner, 2 points for a method of victory, and 3 points for picking an underdog. Niall, you're up first. Let me know how you're feeling about these.
I'm feeling great about them after my win at the weekend. So I'm going to go, my definite pick this week, Petesy, is going to be Alex Oliveira, Cowboy, over Shavkat Rakhmonov. There you go. What pronunciation. That is my definite pick. Shavkat Rakhmonov. There you go. Like, go on. What's your pick?
My pick. I think I'm gonna go for just looking at the experience differential here between Phil Hawes and Jacob Malkoun. I think I'm gonna go for Phil Hawes to get the victory. I've never heard this Malkoun lad, and he's only 4-0. So I'm gonna go for that as my definite.
Yeah, there's some odd fights in the card, to be honest, for such a massive
this last situation.
Yeah,
shit,
it is, isn't it? Really big time. We've seen it throughout the sort of weeks, but yeah, grand. Okay.
Method of victory now. Let's go.
Method of victory. Justin Gaethje TKO over Khabib. There we go. I'm gonna stick with it. I said it months ago. I'm not changing my mind now. There we go. There you have it.
Well, just for fun, then I'll go method of victory. Khabib Nurmagomedov via decision against Justin Gaethje.
Oh, there you go. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, on to the final road. I don't bloody know who I'm picking. This is going to be a disaster this week, I reckon, Pete. What's my choice now?
Your underdog, please.
Underdog. Sir. Okay, underdog. I think Nathaniel Wood, who we've had on the show this week, 13-8 against Casey Kenny, too good to turn down. I'm expecting him to jump back and bounce back in a spectacular fashion. I know Casey's a very good fighter, but I'm expecting something big from Nathaniel Wood.
Right. For my underdog, I'm going to go for one of my 2019 picks. She didn't have a good start with the UFC, but she has bounced back since then, and that's Liana Jojoa against Miranda Maverick, whose last win came over Pearl Gonzalez, I believe. I think Liana, it suits her down to the ground to be fighting in Abu Dhabi. She's a lot closer than Miranda is. And I think she still has to show us her best work. So I'm going to go with Liana Jojoa to get the win over Miranda.
Sounds another win from McGrath. Lovely.
Maybe. Who knows? But I mean, without any stipulations attached, do you pick Gaethje over Nurmagomedov to win this fight?
Yeah. I just think so. I think this has been a long camp for Khabib, and it's been a tough one. We know what's happened, and I just fancy something about Justin Gaethje, and I think we're going to see maybe a little bit more wrestling than we've ever seen before, because he has it in his locker, and I think it's time to show it. And I wouldn't be surprised, man. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Khabib's stand-up has been inept in a number of fights, and guys haven't taken advantage of it. I think Justin Gaethje could be that guy.
I think Khabib does what Khabib does all the time and takes him down, controls the fight, drains the
Yeah, I wouldn't be
gas,
surprised.
and then plays around basically. I do think Gaethje can catch him. I think the only way it's happening is a TKO. You can't convince me that Gaethje is going to dominate Khabib on the ground. I genuinely don't believe
100%.
it. I feel as though I'd love to see Khabib being taken down and working from the bottom just to see what it's all about, and hopefully Justin can do that. But I really don't see it happening.
It could be a great thing for the division.
Cannonier v Whittaker. Who do you have in that one?
I'm going to go with Whittaker. I think he'll have too much in the feet. His boxing will be too crisp for me.
I think Cannonier knocks him out, to be honest.
Hello, guys. If you want to hear more of The Bash, you can subscribe to us on all our wonderful channels on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and all that other shit.
And click the links below. Click the links below. The notification button. It comes straight to your phone if we've any fresh content. And also hit the subscribe button. It does help. You're some plonker.
It's very serious.